Hey, my name's Thomas, and today I'm going to be guiding you through the basics of Metasploit. So when you log into Kali, the first thing you're probably going to want to do is open up a terminal window. Pretty much everything in Metasploit, except actually everything in Metasploit, is done through the command line. I think there is a graphic interface, but that's a separate thing. Anyway, first thing you're probably going to want to do when you get into Kali, into the command line, is start up MSF console. This might take a while, and if it says something like database not connected or something of the sort, you're going to want to run a couple commands first. This service PostgreSQL start is just starting up the database service so that the MSF console can interact with the database that Kali has set up. And then you'll want to do the same with Metasploit. You'll want to actually start the Metasploit service. And then after that, you should be able to log into the console. Alright, awesome. Here's the Metasploit console. If this part looks different, don't worry, it just kind of randomly creates a drawing. First thing we probably want to do, since we're going to be scanning our local network, looking for any vulnerable hosts up and exploiting them, is, well, figure out what our network is. If you're not familiar with Linux, the command to figure out what your own personal IP address is this ifconfig. I know ahead of time that the interface that I'm networking on is eth0, so I can just type in ifconfig eth0, but if you don't, you can just leave it at ifconfig and it's not a big deal. You're going to want to go to whatever your main network interface is and look at this inet address, and that's going to be your Kali Linux IP address on the network. So if you have like a router set up and you can look at the devices, you'll probably see Kali on it. So now that we know that, we want to use a tool called Nmap. Nmap is a network mapper. It's used for determining what hosts are up on the network and doing port scans and the like. So it's pretty simple to call too. It's just Nmap. And then we can use our network information previously learned by scanning the subnet, or by using this information, we can scan the subnet. In order to scan the subnet and not just ourselves, we have to replace this last 3 digits, 2 or 3 digits, with a 0/24. This just means scan the whole range of the subnet, which is 1 through 255, or 254, I believe. So, this is also, it's not going to be instantaneous, but just wait a little bit and things will start popping up. Oh, there you go. Perfect. So, this, as you might be able to tell if you look at any of the other traffic from computers on your network, most things don't have that many ports open, if any at all. This one, though, which is our Metasploitable box, is. If you don't have this up, go into VMware or VirtualBox or something and just open up Metasploitable. And if you don't have Metasploitable, then download it off the internet really quickly. It's free. They zip it up really nicely for everyone, and you can go into VMware or VirtualBox, create a new machine, and then point it to Metasploitable2.vmdk or vmx, something like that. And then once that loads up, come back here and have fun cracking it open. So, during most pen tests, you're not just going to immediately know what to attack. You'll have to do some recon, maybe do some banner grabbing on FTP or Telnet, something that doesn't encrypt traffic. Metasploitable in particular, if you want to attack Telnet, that's always fun. But for today, we're going to use the IRC port 6667. I know ahead of time that's the exploit, and to make things go faster today, since it's just about learning the interface, I'll just give it to you. Use the IRC exploit. So to search things, we obviously just type in search at this MSF prompt. So we're looking for an exploit. We know that Metasploitable is Ubuntu-based, so it's also Unix-based. So we're going to look for an exploit that's Unix-based, and then we're going to look for IRC. And boom, there is one exploit. It's excellent. And it looks like that's what we're going to use. So to use an exploit, surprise, surprise, we just type use. It's pretty nice. If you don't feel like typing everything out, like I never do, just type a bit of it out and press tab. And if it doesn't work the first time, type a little bit more, press tab until it works. So once we use that, if we get this exploit, parentheses, red text stuff, then that means we know it worked. We know we typed in the right exploit, there weren't any typos, etc. First thing we want to do is look at the options. For this in particular, there's only 2 options, which is nice. Some of them have a lot, maybe like 6 or 7 options that we have to configure ahead of time. And even still, one of them is just a default port number, 6667, like we had before, so we know not to touch that. So all we have to do is point the exploit at the particular host. Our host stands for remote host, so it's pretty easy to remember. So in order to set an option, we do set, the name of the option, case doesn't matter at all here, and then what value we'll fill it in with. So 192.168.92.128. All right. So if you want to type in show options again, it'll show that that indeed got filled. And in order to do an exploit, all we have to do is type either exploit or we type run. Doesn't really matter. It's basically just an alias. They're aliases for each other here. So if you see all this input, or all this output, excuse me, that means it worked. None of the details matter in this case, really. It's just a really simple shell. You can figure out that if you're not sure if something happened, type who am I, you'll be root. Or alternatively, you can type ifconfig like I did before. And then you probably don't want to type if0 in this instance because you don't know what the network interface's name is, but it worked here. But we can determine that this is not us. This is not our IP address. Ours was 130, and Metasploitable was, of course, 128. So we have a root shell in Metasploitable. What now? Well, usually what you're going to want to do is maybe gather some more information, look at programs that are also installed. Maybe if you really don't care about logs, delete some logs. I don't know. Whatever you want. Usually the first thing I do is go into the etc directory, and then you can list all its contents with ls and see there's a few text files that you can display using the cat tool, or the cat command, and it'll show password hashes, which is really cool. If you ever get this on a live computer, you'll probably want to try to crack these passwords offline. So you can just highlight them all, copy them to a local text file on Kali, and then run John the Ripper hashcat. But that's past the scope of this current video, which was just about getting you used to the interface, looking at options, searching for exploits. You can search for all sorts of things. We'll exit out of here using Control-C. That's it. See ya.